evening, Asia. Good evening, America. You are watching World DNA with me, Jyotsna Kumar.
And I'm Samisha Srivastava. On the show today, France is set to decline President Trump's Board of Peace for the Gaza region. A source close to President Emmanuel Macron has told AFP that France does not intend to answer favorably to an invitation to join the peace board. While Canada has also signaled caution, a source that's been quoted by AFP says that Carney's government would not pay to secure a seat on the Board of Peace for Gaza. We'll get you all the latest developments on that front.
Well, also on the show today, the Islamic State has claimed responsibility for an attack on a Chinese-run restaurant in Kabul. A Chinese national and 6 Afghans were killed in an explosion which tore through the restaurant in a heavily guarded part of Afghanistan's capital. We'll get you more details on that and much more on World DNA. Let's get a quick check of the headlines.
Trump says he no longer feels obligated to focus solely on peace after being overlooked for Nobel Peace Prize. In a text message to Norway's Prime Minister, he challenges Denmark's claim to Greenland, saying he wants total control of the island.
A blast at a Chinese restaurant in central Kabul kills at least 7 people, leaving over a dozen others injured. Islamic State claims responsibility, saying it carried out suicide attack targeting Chinese nationals.
World Economic Forum withdraws its invitation for Iran's Foreign Minister Abbas Araghchi to attend Davos summit after pressure from an advocacy group amid protests in Iran. He was scheduled to speak today.
Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu vows there would be no place for Turkish or Qatari soldiers in post-war Gaza and reiterates Israel's objection to composition of U.S.-backed advisory panel for the Palestinian territory.
Syrian President Ahmed al-Shara and Trump discuss guaranteeing Kurdish rights in phone call following truce deal between Damascus and Kurdish forces as Syrian army deploys in countries north and east.
Kim Jong-un fires North Korea's Vice Premier Yang Sung-ho, tasked with economic policy, after blaming officials for delays at an industrial project, condemning what he calls irresponsible economic management.
India and the UAE sign a $3 billion LNG deal, making India the UAE's top gas customer. The agreement boosts energy ties as both nations aim to double trade and deepen defense cooperation.
Iconic Italian fashion designer Valentino Garavani dies at 93 at his home in Rome. Valentino was regarded as one of the most influential fashion designers of the 20th century. His funeral is planned for Friday. All right, we have some breaking news just coming in. The U.S. military is preparing to deploy aircraft to a key military base in Greenland.
Well, important that this move comes amid escalating tensions over President Donald Trump's push to acquire the Arctic territory. In fact, the North American Aerospace Defense Command, the NORAD, has said that the aircraft will soon arrive at the Pituffik Space Base. And this is what we know
for now.
Right.
Now, the deployment will support long-planned visual defense operations, and the statement did not describe the nature of this planned activity, which it said were aimed at defense cooperation. It said that the activities had been coordinated with Denmark and that Greenland had been informed.
Additionally, NORAD has even said that the arriving aircraft will operate alongside those from bases in the continental United States and Canada. The statement even noted that NORAD routinely conducts sustained dispersed operations in the defense of North America.
Now, while this may be a routine deployment, every move around Greenland is being watched carefully and with scrutiny. Trump has repeatedly threatened to take over Greenland one way or the other. Now, the U.S. president had earlier threatened to wield new tariffs against the countries which oppose his plans for the Arctic island. He has also threatened 10% levy on 8 European nations who send small military delegations there for an exercise. Now, Denmark has proposed that NATO start surveillance operations in Greenland to confront security concerns.
Well, President Trump has also warned that he no longer feels obliged to think purely of peace, and that is after being snubbed for Nobel Prize.
In a text message to Norwegian Prime Minister, Trump had said that he no longer has an obligation to pursue peace as he was ignored for the Nobel Peace Prize despite ending more than 8 wars that he has been talking about so long. This prize is awarded by a 5-member committee elected by the Norwegian parliament. He also questioned Danish authority over Greenland, saying Denmark does not have written documents proving its ownership of Greenland.
Well, Trump has even added that the world is not secure unless US has total control of Greenland. It's not the first time he has repeatedly said that his country needs vast mineral-rich Greenland for national security, and that is despite the United States already having a base on the island and security agreements with NATO ally Denmark as well.
All right, for people just joining in, we have some breaking news coming in. The U.S. military is preparing to deploy aircraft to a key military base in Greenland, and this move comes amid escalating tensions over President Donald Trump's push to acquire the Arctic territory. Now, the North American Aerospace Defense Command has said that the aircraft will arrive at the Putufik Space Base. Now, this deployment will support long-planned visual defense operations. Now, the statement did not describe the nature of this planned activity, which it said were aimed at defense cooperation. It also said that the activities had been coordinated with Denmark and that Greenland had been informed about this activity. NORAD says that the arriving aircraft will operate alongside those from bases in continental United States and Canada. The statement noted that NORAD routinely conducts sustained dispersed operations in the defense of North America.
All right, shifting focus then, President Donald Trump intends to unveil his Board of Peace at World Economic Forum in Davos.
But key allies have reacted coolly, and some are questioning if they will join the board. The board was originally conceived to oversee the rebuilding of war-torn Gaza, but now Trump seems to have expanded its charter. Its charter says the board seeks to secure enduring peace in areas affected or threatened by conflict. Well, some analysts are even calling it Trump's alternate United Nations.
Well, we have a board of peace that's being formed, but essentially it's the most important leaders of the most important nations. All nations, but the most important, you take the most important leaders and nations, that's who the Board of Peace is going to be. Everybody wants to be on it.
The board charter underlines Trump's total control over the board as chairman. President Trump will have the power to invite people to join the board, and all decisions will be subject to the approval of the chairman. He will then pick or even remove members of an executive board. The chairman can be replaced only in case of voluntary resignation or as a result of incapacity.
Now, the board's charter also says that any member countries will serve no longer than 3 years. That is, unless that they contribute more than $1 billion in cash funds to the Board of Peace within the first year of joining. The charter does not specify who will control the fund.
That's right. In fact, Trump will have exclusive authority over this Gaza Peace Board. The White House has even asked various world leaders to sit on the board, but several countries are yet to respond to the invite, and some are refusing to join this board.
A French foreign minister has told lawmakers that it cannot join the board at this stage. Barot had added that it is incompatible with France's international commitments, and in particular its membership in the United Nations.
Another report that cited a source close to French President Emmanuel Macron said that he does not intend to answer favorably to Trump's invitation.
And Canada's Prime Minister Mark Carney has indicated that he would accept an invitation to join, but a source in the Canadian government said Ottawa will not pay to be on the board.
In fact, several countries have said that they received invitations to join the board in recent days, which includes Argentina, Belarus, Canada, Australia, Egypt, Pakistan, Jordan, Turkey, Israel, and India as well.
Now, the Kremlin has said that Russian President Vladimir Putin had also received an invitation. It is studying all the details of the proposal and hopes to contact Washington to clarify all the nuances.
President Trump also wrote to Prime Minister Narendra Modi inviting him to embark on a bold new approach to resolving global conflict. Now, India is yet to take a call on joining the board or not.
Well, some of Trump's invites have not gone well with Israel. Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu reiterated Israel's objection to the composition of a U.S.-backed advisory panel. He vowed that there would be no place for Turkish or Qatari soldiers in post-war Gaza. Trump has invited officials from both countries to join the executive board.
And I want to emphasize something else. Turkish soldiers and Qatari soldiers will not be in the Gaza Strip. We have a certain argument with our friend in the United States about the composition of the advisory council that will accompany the processes in Gaza.
While Trump may have expanded the board's mandate, its first test case will be Gaza, and it may decide the future of Trump's ambitions.
And getting us more details on Trump's Gaza Peace Board is Susan Tehrani, who sent us this report from New York.
If all goes as planned, the United States is expected to announce the official members of President Trump's new Board of Peace in the coming days at the World Economic Forum in Davos. And that timing matters because Gaza's ceasefire now is entering its most difficult phase. Phase 2 isn't just about stopping the war, it's about what comes next. A new Palestinian governing committee inside of Gaza, an international security force, the continued push to disarm Hamas, not to mention the massive job of rebuilding a territory left in ruins. And their challenges are enormous. Who will provide troops and security? Who will fund reconstruction? And will Hamas actually give up its weapons? And politically, President Trump's board is already being framed as something that could rival the United Nations, raising questions about legitimacy, buy-ins, and whether or not key countries will ultimately sign on. Susan Tehrani reporting from New York for WION World is One.
Moving on, the fierce fighting between Russia and Ukraine is escalating. Russia claims Ukraine has lost over 1,000 troops in a day.
Well, Ukraine's President Volodymyr Zelensky calls the situation in Kiev extremely tough. In fact, the ongoing hours-long power outages are the worst yet of the war.
Now here's a report that tells you more details. Take a look.
The war in Ukraine is entering a critical phase. Russia has been pummeling Ukraine's power grid with drones and missiles. These are the images from Odessa. Kyiv claims Moscow has attacked the port city with over 100 drones. Russia has launched a barrage of drone strikes on Ukraine's energy infrastructure. Power supply in 5 key regions remains cut off amid bitter cold and high demand for heating. In Ukraine, millions have plunged into darkness as temperatures have dipped as low as minus 20 degrees Celsius.
We currently have no water supply, no heating and no electricity. So unfortunately, we have none of the basic amenities of civilization. But we hope everything will be restored.
Around 58,000 Ukrainian workers are racing to restore power across the country, with additional crews deployed in Kiev.
For Kyiv, where the situation is very difficult, an additional 50 teams from all over the country have been involved. There are still houses without heating, and for them, the necessary equipment and teams are actually being sent to each house manually. It is also difficult in the Kyiv region, especially in the northern part of the region, also in the Boryspil district.
Fierce fighting continues near the front lines. Russian forces are currently some 30 kilometers from Slavyansk, a major industrial city in Donetsk. The strategic location of Slavyansk and heavy fighting makes it a focal point for the conflict. It gained international prominence as the first key battleground in the 2014 war in Donbass, where its seizure by Russian-backed separatists and subsequent liberation by Ukraine marked the war's beginning. Russia claims Ukrainian forces have lost around 1,200 troops over the weekend. Russian units are pushing forward across multiple fronts. It is difficult to independently ascertain the casualties in the fog of war. On the diplomatic front, Zelensky says Ukraine's delegation has held several rounds of talks with representatives of US President Donald Trump, with work underway on documents needed to end the war. This comes at a time Russia says Ukraine is running out of time and options to seal the peace deal. Trump is expected to attend the World Economic Forum in Davos. The US president has indicated that he might meet Zelensky, a meeting the Ukrainian leader has publicly sought. Bureau Report, WION World is One.
Moving on then, Spain is searching for answers after a devastating high-speed train crash that claimed at least 40 lives.
Investigators say that initial inspections point to a damaged rail joint that may have triggered the deadly derailment. And according to an exclusive Reuters report, sources briefed on the preliminary investigation say the technicians have identified a broken joint between sections of rail near the crash site. The defect is believed to have existed for some time and may be central to determining the exact cause of the accident.
The derailment occurred near the town of Ademuz in Spain's southern Cordoba province, around 360 kilometers south of Madrid. In fact, several carriages of the high-speed train left the tracks and collided with an incoming train, which forced it off the rails and down an embankment in what is being described as one of Europe's worst rail disasters in recent history.
Experts inspecting the site found significant wear in a rail joint known as the fish plate. Investigators believe the damaged joint created a gap between rail sections that widened over time as trains continued to pass over it. Now, police have marked the photographed the area as part of the forensic investigation.
Spain's Commission for the Investigation of Rail Accident is leading the inquiry into this. However, officials from the Commission, the rail infrastructure operator, the ADIF and the Transport Ministry have so far declined to comment. President of Renfe, Spain's national railway company that is, Alvaro Heredia, said that it is too early to determine the cause, but described the circumstances as unusual, having also added that human error has been largely ruled out in this.
Prime Minister Pedro Sanchez and Transport Minister visited the crash site on Monday. Sanchez cancelled his planned trip to the World Economic Forum in Davos following the tragedy. The investigation into the disaster is ongoing. And in Bolivia, La Paz has officially kicked off its 40 days carnival season in style to the sound of drums and cheers.
Well, the symbolic ceremony marks the rebirth of city's iconic character, Pepino. Take a look at these images. Well, the World Economic Forum is underway in Davos, Switzerland, and WION has been tracking all the key developments.
WION's assistant editor for foreign affairs, Ithan Sibel, spoke to Agnieszka Pamaska, chair of the European Union Affairs Committee in the Polish parliament. And amid the changing political order, she emphasizes that India is a crucial partner for Poland.
In fact, she's even stressed that cooperation and resilience across Europe are vital in these turbulent times. An excerpt of that exclusive conversation.
How do you see India-Poland relationship?
Well, first of all, it's great to meet here in Davos, in the center of the world at the moment. We have next to us Leaders Forum, powered by Poland. And yes, indeed, Poland is very important at the European map. But if you are talking about India and Polish relations, it's crucial for us. It's a guarantee for Polish-European stability, and both of our countries are successful countries. So cooperation is definitely needed.
Mm-hmm. In fact, your foreign minister is in Delhi. He held talks with the Indian External Affairs Minister. The Indian Prime Minister has been to Poland as well. Both sides elevated the relationship to strategic partnership. How do Polish people, Polish lawmakers see India as a partner in Asia?
Of course, India is not just a huge country, but it's a huge and crucial partner between our relations related to cooperation about the defense, security, energy sector. Universities have a lot of cooperations. Actually, I just talked to representatives from India here in the Polish House, here in Davos, and we plan another meetings. I know that some ministers will come in February to Poland. We plan a visit first part of this year to India to talk not just about business, not just about politics, but about strong and regular cooperation between governments, but also between local governments, between investors in Poland that would be useful in India and vice versa.
Ma'am, you head an important body in the Polish parliament that deals with defense. Now, how do you see the current situation in Europe panning out, especially in terms of Donald Trump's threat for Greenland? We know that this year's Davos is dominated by Donald Trump and his threats towards Europe. Do you see a challenge rising across the Atlantic?
Yes, indeed, we face a lot of new challenges that were not present here in Europe 10 years ago, but we have to solve them. Of course, Poland as an important country in the European Union, we believe that cooperation, resilience of Europe is crucial. At the same time, we believe in transatlantic relations, and that security is a basic thing for people in every country. If we don't feel secure, then it's not possible to think about issues like education, issues like work. First of all, we need to feel secure. And yes, we need a dialogue, we need cooperation, but of course it's not enough. We need real action on that as well.
All right, well, that was our Senator for Foreign Affairs in Davos, who's been covering all of this from the ground at the World Economic Forum. Well, we'll be right back after a very short break on World DNA with more lined up on the other side. A blast in Kabul has killed at least 7 people and wounded more than a dozen others. We'll get you all the details on that on the other side.
Also, coming up after this very short break, tracking all that's making news from the world of sports. Djokovic has reached another milestone down under, having become just the second player after Roger Federer to record 100 victories at the Australian Open. That and much more after this very short break.
The world's most powerful minds gather. Decisions that shape our future are made. From the Swiss Alps to you.
The stage is set for the World Economic Forum 2026.
A spirit of dialogue. That is what the theme is for World Economic Forum 2026.
India has sent its highest number of reps and delegates to the forum.
Starting January 19th, WION deep dives into the significance of what global leaders are deliberating at the World Economic Forum. The coverage features key roundtable discussions every day with top analysts at WION's headquarters. Stay tuned as we break down key themes from the Davos Forum to make it simple and engaging for you, only on WION.
This is our brand new edition of South India, a daily dynamic show that will capture the pulse of the southern Indian state.
By blending special stories of the day, breaking alerts and cultural vignettes. From the 7 days.
Rashtriya Swayamsevak Sangh. To some, it's an extreme ideology. To others, it's the very soul of India. To some, it's rebellion. To others, it's a principle of nation building. Coming soon to challenge perceptions in RSS centenary year, Kesariya at 100.
Where darkness hides behind every corner. Where the truth is stranger than fiction. A show that dives deep into the stories which shock and mystify. Unsolved murders. Psychopaths who defy explanation. International war crimes. And millions swindled in financial fraud. The victims, the accused, and the sinister plot. Prime Crime is your front row seat to darkness.
Rashtriya Swayamsevak Sangh. To some, it's an extreme ideology. To others, it's the very soul of India. To some, it's rebellion. To others, it's a principle of nation building. Coming soon to challenge perceptions in RSS centenary year, Kesariya at 100.
From the bustling trading floors of Wall Street to the vibrant exchanges of Asian stock markets, WION breaks it down for you to make sense of what's happening. As we reveal the key factors behind events, strategic battles, and the game-changing business decisions that shape the world. We bring you all of this and more on World Business Watch.
welcome back. Thanks for staying with us. You're watching A World DNA with me, Jyotsa Kumar, and my colleague Samitra Srivastava. Now let's begin with the headlines.
Denmark proposes that NATO start surveillance operations in Greenland with the island's support. Danish defense minister says NATO takes note of proposal and hopes to define a framework to implement it.
Trump says he no longer feels obligated to focus solely on peace after being overlooked for a Nobel Prize. In a text message to Norway's PM, he challenges Denmark's claim to Greenland, saying he wants total control of the island.
A blast at a Chinese restaurant in central Kabul kills at least 7 people, leaving over a dozen others injured. Islamic State claims responsibility, says it carried out a suicide attack targeting Chinese nationals.
Iran's top police officer issues an ultimatum to protesters who joined what authorities call riots, saying they must hand themselves in within 3 days or face the full force of the law.
Israeli Prime Minister Netanyahu vows that there would be no place for Turkish or Qatari soldiers in post-war Gaza and reiterates Israel's objection to composition of US-backed advisory panel for the Palestinian territory.
Syrian President Ahmed al-Shara and Trump discussed guaranteeing Kurdish rights in phone call following truce deal between Damascus and Kurdish forces as Syrian army deploys in countries north and east.
Vietnam's top leader To Lam says the ruling Communist Party is determined to fight corruption, emphasizes private sector's importance to the economy during a speech at a major party congress where he seeks expanded powers.
Kim Jong-un fires North Korea's Vice Premier Yang Sung-ho, tasked with economic policy after blaming officials for delays at an industrial project, condemning what he calls irresponsible economic management.
Silver hits record highs as US-EU tensions over Greenland escalate, pushing investors toward safe haven assets amid rising geopolitical risks and growing uncertainty in global markets.
Los Angeles Lakers LeBron James has been left out of an NBA All-Star game for the first since 2004. The 41-year-old missed the 2025 NBA All-Star game due to foot and ankle injury. LeBron not named All-Star starter for first time in 21 years.
And we begin this edition with the news that we are tracking from Afghanistan. A blast in Kabul has killed at least 7 people and wounded more than a dozen others.
Kabul spokesperson, a police spokesperson, has said that the explosion occurred at a Chinese noodle restaurant in commercial Sharana neighborhood and an area that also houses several office buildings, shopping complexes and embassies.
The Islamic State group has claimed responsibility for the attack. In a statement, it said that it was a suicide attack targeting Chinese nationals. Kabul police spokesperson said that one Chinese national identified as Ayub and 6 Afghans were killed in the blast, which occurred near the kitchen while several others were injured. China, which shares a rugged 76-kilometer border with Afghanistan, has close ties with the Taliban government In fact, this is not the first time. It was in 2022 that the Islamic State group had claimed an attack on a Kabul hotel that was popular with Chinese guests.
Moving on, Japan's Prime Minister Sanae Takaichi has called for a snap election on the 8th of February. Takaichi has officially announced plans to dissolve Japan's parliament this week.
And that is because she is seeking a stronger mandate for her fiscal and defense policies. This is Takaichi's first electoral test since becoming Japan's first female Prime Minister in the month of October last year. She now plans to dissolve parliament on 23rd of January and then have a snap vote for all 465 seats in the lower house of Japan's parliament.
I stake my position as Prime Minister on this decision. I ask the people of Japan to directly judge whether they can entrust the governance of the nation to Sanae Takaichi.
Japan's Liberal Democratic Party has governed the country almost uninterrupted for decades. Takaichi was appointed Prime Minister in October and her cabinet is riding high in the polls, well, for now, despite the party's flagging popularity overall.
Her ruling bloc, which includes the Japan Innovation Party, has a coalition partner, currently holds only a slim majority in Japan's lower house. Also, Takaichi's cabinet recently approved a record $768 billion budget for the fiscal year starting April 2026. Takaichi says that swift parliamentary approvals is the need of the hour to tackle inflation and support the world's fourth largest economy.
Our opposition parties argue that dissolving parliament risks delaying urgent economic measures. The main opposition parties, Komeito and the Constitutional Democratic Party of Japan, has agreed to join forces to fight Takaichi in the election.
The snap poll comes less than 18 months after the previous lower house election that was held in October 2024. Under Japan's constitution, members of the House of Representatives serve 4-year terms unless the chamber is dissolved earlier. In other news then, a special investigation team will probe the death of a young software engineer in India's national capital region.
A 27-year-old Yuvraj Mehta died of drowning after he fell into a ditch in Noida city. His death has sparked a public outcry. The state government has now removed the CEO of Noida Authority, Lokesh M., from his post.
He has also been removed as Managing Director of Noida Metro Rail Corporation. Uttar Pradesh Chief Minister Yogi Adityanath has also set up a 3-member special investigation team to probe the incident. The SIT will be led by Additional Director General of Meerut Zone. He has been instructed to submit the investigation report within 5 days' time.
Now, the post-mortem report of victim has revealed cause of death as asphyxia due to ante-mortem drowning followed by cardiac arrest.
Earlier, an FIR was registered against 2 real estate developers over safety lapses. The victim had drowned when his car plunged into a water-filled pit at a construction site. Accident took place when Mehta was returning from work on early hours of 17th of January.
His father said that his son called him after falling into the pit and was screaming for help for nearly 2 hours before he died. His father has alleged negligence on the part of officials and said that his son could have been saved had help been provided on time. A new global index was recently launched in New Delhi, inviting nations to assess not only their strength, but also their responsibility.
Well, the Responsible Nations Index shifts the focus from dominance to duty, which evaluates how countries perform in their actions, both domestically and internationally. Here's a look at this report.
Today is grappling with conflict, climate crisis and growing inequalities. Yet global rankings still measure nations largely by power and prosperity. The Responsible Nations Index seeks to change that narrative, asking a more fundamental question. How responsibly do countries act towards their people, the planet, and the world? Unlike conventional global indices, the Responsible Nations Index re-evaluates countries through internal, environmental, and external responsibility. Former President of India, Ramnath Kovind, was present at the event to launch the index.
सचमुच में ये इंडेक्स एक अभिनव शैक्षणिक सोच है जो एक जिम्मेदार देश की परिभाषा तय करता है। इस इंडेक्स से ये पता चलता है कि कोई देश अपने नागरिकों के साथ पूरी मानवता के प्रति कितना जिम्मेदार व्यवहार करता है।
Covering 154 countries, the Responsible Nations Index presents a new way of assessing global conduct beyond economic strength or military might.
Previous indexes, they were all working on very, Western templates, and we were actually quite surprised when we started researching about it way back in 2021. That in spite of intellectual wealth of India, there has been no think tank, no government or any organization which has ever done a global index from India. So that itself was a big motivation to do it.
Well, it's about the future of the world, and about the multipolar world and the way it should be organized. And I guess this is a strong message because it's not only about power, about balance of power, it's about accountability and sovereignty of nations, but sovereign nations means a nation which is responsible.
This is a new paradigm where now nations will be looked at from the point of view of how responsible they are. And the responsibility is not just one-fold. It's not just internally how responsible they are. It's a whole new, as I said, a whole new paradigm, which is how responsible are you towards your people? How responsible are you towards the other countries? And how responsible are you towards the environment?
Developed through collaboration between World Intellectual Foundation, Jawaharlal Nehru University, and IIM Mumbai, it aims to influence policy, not just perception. Drawing from credible global data and rooted in India's philosophical ethos like Vasudev Kutumbakam, the index offers a more balanced global lens. At a time when responsibility is as critical as power, the Responsible Nations Index offers a reflective mirror to nations worldwide. With camera person Libin, this is Nikita Singh for WION World is One.
Well, the 56th World Economic Forum is underway in Davos, Switzerland, with WION tracking all the developments closely.
Now, WION's Assistant Editor for Foreign Affairs, Dhan Sibu, spoke to Samharyaji Chhatrapati, heir to Kolhapur royal family. He has been actively involved in commemorating the historical humanitarian efforts of his ancestors in saving thousands of Polish refugees during World War II. Here's a report. Take a look.
Legacy of saving so many Polish people during World War II. Perhaps if you would like to talk about it, the legacy that continues even till today?
Yeah, absolutely. In fact, we're trying to revive those old connections. The Polish people who stayed there in Kolhapur and who are surviving were brought to Kolhapur, like I said to you. But we're having a museum which is coming up. So the museum should be ready in another 4 or 5 months, and then when the Prime Minister or the President of Poland will come to India, we've already put in a request that they come and inaugurate the museum. So the museum is just not a museum; it's a India-Poland connection, India-Poland relationship for the future and for the betterment.
How should the future generation, Indians and Poles, should remember it?
See, like the Indian government, when they were celebrating the 75 years of independence, so they celebrated this function in Warsaw as celebrating the Maharajas. So I was invited for that function. We came, we had a very good relation with the Polish people. Polish people also have not lost that touch. They want to maintain that. That's the reason, they've invited me for this business forum also today. And yes, it's a vice versa arrangement which is taking place, and the Polish who had never come to India for the last so many years. Now the Deputy Prime Minister was in India to meet the Prime Minister yesterday, So things are moving in a very positive way.
Well, the World Economic Forum in Davos is seeing India step onto the world stage with its biggest ever delegation and a 10,000 square feet India pavilion.
As the 5-day global conclave remains underway in Davos, the Indian pavilion on the snow-laden main promenade of the Swiss ski resort town reflects a strong focus on investment opportunities and technological collaboration. Several Indian states, including Andhra Pradesh, Karnataka, Maharashtra, Madhya Pradesh, Jharkhand, Uttar Pradesh, Kerala, and Telangana, have also set up pavilions to showcase investment opportunities.
And WION Sibyl gets you the latest from right outside India Pavilion. Take a look at this report.
863. Well, that is where India Pavilion is located. India Pavilion is the largest pavilion of any country located here at Davos World Economic Forum and will be hosting several states. Almost 9 states are being hosted here at the India Pavilion, represented by chief ministers and other top officials. Now, India is one of the largest economies in the world, and focus is to get more investment into India, even as India has had a stable polity and also has been making sure that the ease of doing business has been made sure that it only gets better and better. But clearly the focus for India here at Davos is not only to have more networking with the global business leadership, but also get more investment. With video journalist Neeraj Patel, Sibyl for WION in Davos, Switzerland.
All right, moving on. Britain's car industry is facing a fresh trade shock after U.S. President Donald Trump announced new tariffs on imports from the UK and other European allies.
Well, the automotive sector, which is the UK's biggest exporter to the United States, now faces renewed uncertainty at a time when vehicle production is already at a 75-year low. Take a look at this next report for more.
Britain's car industry is facing a fresh trade shock after US President Donald Trump announced new tariffs on goods imported from the UK and other European allies. A 10% levy will come into force from February 1st, with a further increase to 25% threatened unless Europe backs Washington's position over Greenland. For UK car makers, this revives fears of full-scale trade war just months after hopes that global tariff tensions were easing. The automotive sector is expected to be the worst hit. Cars are Britain's largest export to the US, excluding pharmaceuticals, which remain exempt. Vehicle production in the UK has already fallen to its lowest level in 75 years, weakened by existing trade barriers. Subdued domestic demand and a major cyber attack that shut down Jaguar Land Rover's production for months. Industry experts warn the new tariffs could lead to an immediate drop in US orders, with up to 25,000 jobs at risk across the automotive sector. Economists caution that if tariffs rise as high as 35%, the impact could run into several billion pounds, potentially pushing the wider UK economy towards recession. Car makers say they have little room to absorb further costs, with profit margins already thin. Passing tariffs onto US consumers risks higher prices and falling sales, while shifting production to the US is not feasible in the short term. Jaguar Land Rover, which relies heavily on the American market, may once again pause exports while the tariff threat plays out. With few immediate alternatives, the industry is now watching diplomatic efforts closely, warning that trade measures driven by geopolitical disputes could destabilize the sector. Business Bureau WION, World is One.
And from the world of tech, UK Prime Minister Keir Starmer has said that more needs to be done to protect children online.
And following a global controversy involving Elon Musk's Grok AI chatbot, which was widely used to create and share undressed images, and in some cases sexualized images of women and minors.
Well, UK Prime Minister has said that the UK government is reviewing a range of measures that is, to strengthen online safety of children. He said, and I quote, "We need to do more to protect children, and that's why we are looking at a range of options and saying no options are off the table for now."
Now, the issue came into sharp focus after Elon Musk's Shy faced backlash over the capabilities of its Grok chatbot last week. The XAI said that it had made changes to prevent Grok from editing images of real people into sexualized or revealing content, including images showing bikinis or similar clothing. The company also said it had blocked users in certain countries from generating sexualized images of real people where such content is illegal. XAI did not specify which jurisdictions are covered by the blocks.
In the UK, the government has already moved to tighten the law. In fact, new legislation makes it a criminal offence not only to share but also create non-consensual sexual images, which includes those produced using artificial intelligence. The government has said that the measures close legal loopholes that previously allowed such content to spread online.
The UK government said the aim is to hold both the creators of AI tools and the platforms that enable their use accountable, not just individual users who distribute the material. The move builds on the UK's Online Safety Act, which requires tech companies to protect children from harmful and illegal content or face heavy fines from the media regulator, Ofcom. Now, Novak Djokovic has reached another milestone. Down under, he has become just the second player after Roger Federer to record 100 victories at the Australian Open.
Well, Djokovic beat Spain's Pedro Martinez in straight sets to sail into the second round. Djokovic skipped a warm-up event this month, saying that he was not physically ready. He was playing his first competitive match since early November, but showed no signs of discomfort or rustiness. The former world number one raised to a 3-0 lead in the opener before the opponent won his first game of the match. Djokovic thereafter took the first set 6-3 in 45 minutes time and then broke Martinez twice in the second set to go 2 sets to love up. Djokovic continued to dominate world number 71 in the third set, which was the only moment of concern for the world number 4 that came when he stretched his right hamstring between the games.
He quickly recovered from that scare to win the contest 6-3, 6-2, 6-2 in 2 hours. The Serbian has set up a second-round clash with Italian qualifier Francesco Maestrelli. Djokovic also made a slice of history on Monday. It was his 81st Grand Slam appearance, equaling the all-time record for men's singles appearances, alongside old rivals Roger Federer and Feliciano Lopez.
It felt good tonight. Let's see how it's going to feel in a few days' time. Performance-wise, the feeling on the court was great, so I couldn't ask for more. Obviously, great serving performance. Just overall felt really good on the court. That has, made me feel good on it for so many times throughout my career. So let's see what comes my way in a few days' time.
All right, and with that, we call a wrap to World DNA for today. Don't go anywhere. News and updates will follow on the other side. You're watching WION World is One. Stay tuned.
From strong human development to resilient infrastructure, Kerala has built a model that balances growth with stability. Today, Kerala is opening wider to the world, welcoming global partnerships across technology, industry, tourism and sustainable development, offering robust opportunities. At the World Economic Forum 2026 in Davos, Kerala steps onto the world stage.
WION team is here to cover the Davos World Economic Forum.
Invest in the future. Invest in Kerala. Watch WION at Davos 2026. From the bustling trading floors of Wall Street to the vibrant